Hi friends, so we're going to do 2-for-1 tonight and have another book. This is How Big Could Your Pumpkin Grow by Wendell Miner. And this book is super special because it has American landmarks. So we're going to learn a little bit today. Some of you might recognize some of these things. At the pumpkin farm, we pick the perfect pumpkin. Some are little, some are big, and some are giant sized. Giant pumpkin festivals are tons of fun. Will the biggest pumpkin set a world record? Wow! What can you do with an enormous pumpkin? Carve it into a boat and race in the regatta? Row, row, row your pumpkin. That's silly. The legendary Paul Bunyan and his Blue Ox Babe were giants too. They like to think big. If they gave you giant pumpkin seeds, how big could your pumpkin grow? Paul Bunyan, who's he? Would it rise as high as hot air balloons at the Fall Fiesta Fair? Or beam as bright as the lighthouse at the beach? Oh, the beach, one of my favorite places. Have you ever been to a lighthouse? They are super tall. I've climbed up into a lighthouse before. My heart skipped a beat. I'm afraid of heights. That was a bad choice. Your gigantic pumpkin could glow like the skyscrapers, but watch out. Horns will honk on the bridge when it blocks traffic. Beep, beep. They do things big in Texas. Would your giant pumpkin be boss in a jumbo cowboy hat? That was my attempt at a Texas accent. Or a hungry monster gobbling riders on the tallest, fastest roller coaster. Imagine if your pumpkin was too immense for hide and seek and couldn't even hide behind the Capitol Dome. My friend Blake is going to like this one. Perhaps your mighty pumpkin could grow up to be president. Hail to the chief. Blake, what is that? Would your stupendous pumpkin make a super splash atop a towering waterfall? Three, two, one, blast off! Wouldn't your astronomical pumpkin smile to see a rocket zoom into space? Could the most colossal pumpkin fill the Grand Canyon? Who knows? Isn't it fun to imagine giant pumpkins everywhere we go? All right, so let's see if you recognize some of these places. So we'll start out with our first picture. Any idea where this might be? A pumpkin patch, yes. It is Connecticut. Everyone has a favorite pumpkin patch. I bet you do too. I like to visit Ariel Farm in my hometown of Washington, Connecticut. So this is the author's favorite place to go. And how about here, the giant pumpkin contest? Where would that be? We see giant pumpkins in PA, but it's not our hometown. It's in Wisconsin. Giant pumpkin contests are held all over America every fall. In the Midwest, a popular one is held in Nicosia, Wisconsin. Every year, world records are made. In 2012, the one-ton record was broken by Ron Wallace's 2,009-pound pumpkin at the Topsfield Fair in Massachusetts. Before that, records were held by a 1,818.5-pound pumpkin at the 2011 Prince Edward County Pumpkin Fest in Canada and a 1,810.5-pound pumpkin at the 2010 Stillwater Harvest Fest in Minnesota. Who will break the next record? Now our little rowboaters here in their pumpkin boats. Any idea where that would be? That is Vermont. People of all ages carve out their giant pumpkins and make them into boats. Pumpkin regattas are a popular autumn activity in many states. In New England, the Giant Pumpkin Regatta and Festival is held on Lake Champlain in Burlington. Wow, people actually carve out their pumpkins and ride in them. Crazy. All right, you remember this guy? What's his name? Paul Bunyan and his Blue Ox. This is Minnesota. Paul Bunyan is a legendary American folk hero, described as a lumberjack of extraordinary stature and strength. One tall tale tells of the 10,000 lakes of Minnesota that were formed from the footprints of Paul and his giant blue ox babe. There are many Paul Bunyan statues throughout America, and the one in Bemidji, Minnesota, where Paul Bunyan stands 18 feet tall, is the oldest. And how about our hot air balloons? These are really cool. We got the pumpkin here for size. We got a witch. We have panda, penguin, pig, bumblebee. This is New Mexico. Every October, over 100,000 people gather at the International Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque to watch hundreds of funny hot air balloons. There's even a giant pumpkin balloon. Remember this one? One of my favorite places. Well, guess what? It's in my favorite place, right beside it. This is Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Woo woo! Not too far from Corolla, my favorite place in the world. The Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is the tallest brick lighthouse in the nation. It is 210 feet tall. You can climb 269 steps to the very top to have a view of the sea. Crazy. This one might be more recognizable. Where might this be? If you said New York, you are correct. That is the Brooklyn Bridge, which was completed in 1883. It took 14 years to build. It is 5,989 feet long and 276 feet tall. It spans the East River and connects Brooklyn to Manhattan. That's 2 parts of New York. Crazy. All right, we already know this is Texas. Remember, I tried my Texas twang and it really didn't work out. Everything in Texas is big, including the Spindletop oil fields near Beaumont, where the Texas oil boom began. In 1901, a huge geyser of oil exploded from the Spindletop drilling site. gushing up over 150 feet and producing about 80,000 barrels of oil a day. Wow. 1 barrel of oil, that's like you could swim in a barrel. You could literally swim in a barrel. There's 80,000 of those. All right, where is this big roller coaster? New Jersey has the world's tallest roller coaster called Kingda Ka at Six Flags. It is 456 feet up and it travels at 128 miles an hour. So think about if you're on the highway, if you go the speed limit, you go roughly between 55 and 70 miles an hour. You're going twice as fast on that roller coaster. And our Capitol building, one of the prettiest sights I have ever seen in New York. I should talk about New York. I have New York on the brain. It's Washington, D.C., one of my other favorite places. Not as favorite as North Carolina, but an awesome place to be. It is our country's most famous man-made landmark. Its dome is 288 feet tall, and it covers 4 acres. That's a lot of land. It has housed the meeting chambers of the Senate and the House of Representatives for over 200 years. So let's think about that. We're looking at the 1800s. So like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to be wrong. Like Abe Lincoln, we're thinking, and FDR, John F. Kennedy, the Bushes, Obama, so many people. How cool is that? And this one, my friend Blake, I know you know what this is. This is Mount Rushmore in Colorado, South Dakota. So my friend Blake is with his family on a trip to Colorado and South Dakota, where Mount Rushmore is very nearby. He really wants to see Mount Rushmore. And it took about, reading the wrong thing. There were 3 million people visit Mount Rushmore every year. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln are carved into the granite mountain. That's 4 presidents. Each president's head is 60 feet high, and each nose is 20 feet tall. Sculptor Gutzon Bornholm and his 400 workers used dynamite to help carve out the stone, and it took 14 years to complete. Wow. Now, how about that beautiful waterfall? Where do we think that was? Well, it is not Niagara. It is California. In 1864, President Lincoln signed a bill to set aside land in Yosemite Valley for preservation. This national park was one of the first wilderness parks in the U.S., and it is home of the Great Yosemite Falls, a series of 3 descending falls, which have a total height of 2,425 feet. And how about where the space shuttle is? That is in Florida. NASA's Kennedy Space Center is on Cape Canaveral. It is the site of many historic Apollo moon rocket launches. Sometime in the future, you might see a new giant rocket launch to the moon, Mars, and beyond. And lastly, where is this grand place? It's the Grand Canyon in Arizona. It's 277 miles long and up to 18 miles wide. The canyon attracts close to 5 million visitors each year, and many people have rafted the rapids through the canyon on the Colorado River. That's like going to Canoe Creek or the Juniata River, or I'm not sure where other lakes and rivers are that run. I just know those because they're close to my home. But imagine a river and then it going even faster and faster and faster. So the water's like whoosh, and being in like a little boat going down the river. People do that. What? Oh my gosh. Crazy. People are awesome. You never know where you might find giant monuments and giant pumpkins. Be on the lookout when you travel. Use your imagination and think big. This is for young pumpkin lovers who dream big.